AITA for telling my daughter that life doesn't stop for others because hers isn't going well. I have 3 kids, and my daughter, 27F, hasn't had the best luck in her romantic life. She's gotten cheated on many times, and her previous relationship were unhealthy. I also believe she's in a toxic relationship with her current boyfriend. My nieces and nephews, along with my other kids, are all happily married, some starting their own families. It was my sister's birthday recently, and she and her husband had planned the trip for the family. She helped with expenses if needed, but for the most part everyone paid for themselves. My daughter was the only one going by herself. We did things as family, but there were times when we split up to do something with just our partners. So sometimes my daughter was by herself or basically being a third wheel. At the end of the trip, my daughter complained to me how she hated going on the trip, that she felt like it was a cruel joke that she was there by herself, and that the others should not have shown affection to their partners when she was around. This is not the first time she complained about something like this. She's done it after holidays and birthdays as well. I'll admit I'm tired of my daughter complaining about this. So I told her that just because her life isn't going well doesn't mean others will stop living theirs. She hasn't talked to me since, and that was almost 2 weeks ago. My husband is on my side, but I'm worried I'll lose my daughter. AITA? Edit. She was allowed to bring a friend edit too. My daughter isn't single. She has a BF. Edit 3. Thank you for the responses. I didn't expect so many. I plan to try and reach out to my daughter and talk. Info: was she invited to bring a friend or A+1 along? I don't have a lot of sympathy for her demanding people not showing any affection for each other in her presence. And a lot of what you say is valid. However, I don't understand how, on a family vacation, all the couples are going off and leaving her all on her own. That sounds wretched, and I can empathize with how sad it is to watch everyone else be stable and happy when that's not at all available to you. You could acknowledge the validity of her feelings while encouraging her to accept the right of others to be happy. Info: what has led to this pattern in her life of choosing cheaters and toxic relationships? Being single doesn't mean her life isn't going well. The family trip should be accommodating for everyone no matter their relationship status. YTA for this. There were times when we split up to do something with just our partners. So sometimes my daughter was by herself or basically being a third wheel. In my family, there are many single adults. We would never break it up so that all the partners were together and the single adults left to their own. We wouldn't do it no matter how many single people were there. Much less if there were just one single person. Family gatherings are just that. You can all break up to do things with only your partners any other time. YTA. You said her life wasn't going well. That's a big statement to tell your daughter her life sucks and to not bother other people in her family with better, happier lives that are all in relationships. Instead, you could have said something like, "I'm sorry you've had issues in your relationships. Nobody deserves to be cheated on. It's got to hurt. But you are worthy of love and happiness and everything you want in a relationship. It might take time, and in the meantime it may be uncomfortable feeling like you're the third wheel. But you're not, because we are a family unit and so we ride on all wheels." And then included her in the family plans. She is wrong in expecting people to not act affectionate in her presence, etc., but she complained about that to you, her mom. Venting. It's not like she said that to them. Sounds like needs to feel loved and valued. And that's why she is chasing dysfunctional men. And instead she just got more rejection. NTA. But why didn't her boyfriend come along? Why was his lack of presence everyone else's eggshells to walk on? Info. Everyone else brought their partner and you said your daughter has a boyfriend. One you may think is toxic, but a boyfriend nonetheless. So, why was she alone on the trip? Your sister was paying for people who couldn't afford it otherwise, so finances can't be the reason. Why didn't he join you all? You do not seem to have empathy for your own daughter. Have you tried to help her make better choices to avoid toxic relationships or to improve her self-worth? While your daughter doesn't have a right to demand that couples don't show affection for each other. Based on what you wrote, I can understand where she is coming from. You called your own daughter a third wheel. My parents would never have treated me this way. They did not always approve of my romantic choices when I was younger. But they always tried for me to see my own worth and never just wrote me off. NTA. I think she's at the age where she should be able to entertain herself for a couple of hours alone. IDK. Why everyone is saying ESH and YTA. Do family trips mean you have to stay the family 24/7? No. I went on a lot of family trips. We always get time alone sometimes. And I'm single too. I think she was being unreasonable. I think the splitting off for couples things was ta moment. Did you guys split up and have girls' time and guys' time together so there was at least something? That was not specific to her? Did she get any say in what the activities even were or restaurant choices, etc.? I do think how you said things was a bit rude. But for underlying issue of her complaints sorta breaks even. You will lose your daughter if you say things like this regularly. She likely took it to mean you think her life sucks and she's a failure in her own mom's eyes. There is no rush to get married, she's still very young. This type of talk may lead her to settle for someone undeserving just so she feels like she's meeting family standards. I think you should send her an apology and tell her you're proud of her for not settling just because others have, and that you understand how loneliness can feel, and that next time you do something as a family you will include her in decisions that affect her time and her wallet. Ask her to coffee or lunch or to get your nails done. The two of you, or with her sister too. The number of her years means nothing. She is still the same little girl who has the same love language she always had for her family. I don't really see anyone being TA here. BC, you're clearly realizing that your words had power. Her outburst may have been immature, but we should be able to be honest and immature when we feel hurt with our families. I'm the only one of 6 girls that is single. No matter what we do, I am the odd person out. Third wheel. Fifth wheel. Seventh wheel. Ninth wheel. I get really sad sometimes over feeling relationship incompetent. But I also love that a couple of my sisters' rich husbands treat me lots of the time so that my sisters get to spend time comparably broke single me. I'm 37, so I have had more time to accept that I'm eternally single. BC, I've made several terrible choices in partners. But like for my sister's wedding, I will be bringing my best girlfriend. It really does suck mostly when some of my family members act like I could just go out and catch an amazing rich husband like theirs, except like, how? Do you have magic beans for me so I can grow a man? I would never ever admit it to my family, but I cry like every 3 days about how I wish I had a happy partner and kids, and probably won't get to. I don't think people realize the grief that can come from missing out on having a family if that is wanted. I don't think you are the asshole. But I don't think your kid is really an asshole either. It sounds like she needs some emotional help. And although daughter sounds like she was being bratty, she probably would appreciate a compassionate reconciliation where you acknowledge you could have made your point a bit more gently. Despite your point being fair, she may just need time. But she also may be in a PTSD tailspin and need you to find a way to get in touch with her to reconcile. So sometimes my daughter was by herself for basically being a third wheel. Why would you plan couple activities on the trip if not everyone was in a couple? She's 27 for crying out loud. Still pretty young. Her complaining about people showing affection is ridiculous. But have you stopped to think about how she might have felt on this trip? Edit. I'm not saying 27 is young in the sense you're all complaining about. I'm talking about in the context of the post 27 is still young with respect to finding a partner and starting a family. It was mainly in response to this sentence from OP. My nieces and nephews, along with my other kids, are all happily married, some starting their own families. Your daughter needs to learn to be alone and be happy before she gets into another relationship. Sounds like she desperately jumps into relationships to avoid being alone. I find this very sad. NTA. Ugh. My sister is like this. I can't do things with my husband or kids or friends because she has none. I get sarcastic comments like, it must be nice. Your daughter shouldn't have gone. Or gone and tried to have fun, and she needs to stop feeling sorry for herself. NTA. Your grown daughter. Yes to everyone that thinks 27 is still young. She is a grown adult. Could have done things on her own. It is not your responsibility to make sure she is having a good time family vacation or not. You all did family activities during the day. You can't be made accountable to do family things 24/7. Maybe I was just raised differently, but my family vacations often had people doing their own things. I mean, when I was about her age, I went on a family cruise and went to the beach by myself because I wanted to chill, and then went shopping by myself while my family did other things. Honestly, she needs to grow up. Sorry if that is a harsh statement, but seriously, she is an adult. NTA. If the truth makes you lose her, you never had her. She should be thankful also for having a life where people have the luxury to go on family trips. Is your daughter wanting to go on these family trips? According to you, your daughter has a history of unhealthy relationships, and she sounds like she is really struggling. Is she speaking to a therapist? It can be hard to sympathize, especially when the rest of the family isn't experiencing the same issue. A professional at least can be an unbiased listener and help her get on the right path. NTA. This sounds like a normal family trip to me. Everyone has different interests, so it's natural to do some separate activities as a couple. Yeah, it sucks to watch happy couples going separate ways when you're there alone. But there are tons of things for single travelers to do on their own. She could have read a book in her hotel room or explored on her own if she didn't want to be a third wheel. She's 27, not 12. She didn't need constant supervision. And it's ridiculous to expect couples to show no affection simply because one person was alone. How many couples were on the trip?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.